everyone, it's Belinda from Plan A, and I am thrilled to have a chat today with Tim Cicerich. Tim is the Community Engagement Manager for Kids Hope, and it's a great organisation that will help you with your community engagement. So hi Tim, thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Belinda.
No, you're welcome. How about you kick off by letting us know what Kids Hope is?
Yeah, Kids Hope has been around 15 years. It was brought to Australia by World Vision and Tim Costello because they saw that there was a need in Australia to help children and also to help the church engage where that was concerned. So Kids Hope is Australia's largest early intervention, school-based, one-to-one mentoring program. And it's a really powerful community-based initiative that brings church and community together and schools together with a common purpose of changing lives, helping kids' lives change, giving them hope. And it's a really simple program. And I think this is the thing that excites me the most about it. It's a program that is designed to, so that any church, no matter what the size is, can implement it, but it doesn't add pressure to any of the existing ministry activities. It's got incredible community impact. And here's how it works. It's one church is connected with one school, and that church provides mentors, one mentor with one child, 1 hour a week. And that's it. There's no pre-planning, there's nothing. It's just investment of a Christian influence in the life of these children that are struggling in lots and lots of ways.
That sounds amazing. But to use some of the Plan A language, so people around this YouTube channel often hear the Plan A framework and the Plan A principles. So do you know which Plan A principles Kids Hope would fall under?
Yeah, I mean, the really important part of this program is it's all about relationship. It's about building relationships. So I would tick the box of knowing there. But also, it's also about partnering within the structure of the church. So, bringing people within the church together with a common purpose, also stepping into the community, taking Jesus into the community and engaging with the school in a way that helps them see that Jesus is not necessarily the Jesus, or Christianity is not necessarily the Christianity that they expect it to be. So to me, that would be the rowing aspect of Plan A.
Yeah, and that's fantastic because how amazing is there's an organization out there that is already saying, hey, we've got these partnerships and we want to draw you into partnership, because that's, I think, a place churches struggle to find momentum. So what is it that makes Kids Hope so user friendly?
Pastor Paul Summers said that Kids Hope would be the most valuable community engagement tool that his church has. And it is so powerful in a couple of ways. One, it doesn't put a whole lot of expectation on church leadership. Once you have it up and running, it really is just a matter of having your volunteers who, a lot of the time, we use people that are a bit older, that are retired, that have got a little bit more time. And so they have got the capacity to be able to spend 1 hour a week in a local school. So it's actually low impact on the church and on the church community, but it's powerfully impactful in the work that it does. So the people that are doing it, as I mentioned, they don't have to do a whole lot of prep before they start. They don't have to understand how to teach kids. They just know how to be able to be relational with them and step into the lives of these kids. And then the momentum just grows from there. We've got stories of principals actually asking. In fact, I was just talking to someone the other day, a principal the other day, and he said, we love this program so much. And in fact, this was his words. We love what you've got, and we want that for our children. The teachers themselves may not want it, but we want it for our children. And so here's this tool that we have that we don't explicitly say this is a program about Jesus, but you've got Christians stepping into the lives of people and actively engaging Christ, the Christ-likeness of it into the lives of people that may never ever experience the gospel, and most definitely wouldn't step into a church.
Yeah, Paul, he's one of ours, isn't he? A Baptist minister. Yeah.
He is indeed. Yeah.
So why do pastors and leaders like Kids Hope as a community engagement tool?
Short answer is it works. It works in its simplicity, as I've just talked about, but also it works in the way that it actually helps the church engage with local community. So, so Paul will talk, actually, Pastor Paul will talk about how Kids Hope allowed him and his church to actually become part of the school process. So when they put on their events, the church would step in and do the sausage sizzle. Or if there was a crisis in the school, it was the church who provided counseling. They provided food parcels. During COVID, it allowed them to step in and really activate what it means to be a church. And he talks about the number of people that come out of the process, not because someone has necessarily specifically mentioned God to them, but by through being Christ, it has opened up a whole lot of opportunities for the church to engage in the work of the local community, and it draws people into local church.
Yeah, well, I can see see why pastors do love it.
Yeah.
The other side of it is the lives of the children. And so before, when we were talking, you mentioned some pretty staggering numbers. So around 20,000 kids who've had troubles in their lives over the 15 years in Australia. So I take it they're Australian numbers. Um, so, that's a lot of primary schools who are partnering with you. Why is it that government primary schools are allowing this to happen?
As I mentioned, it works. There's a few aspects to this that's really, really important to conversations to have. One is the statistics around children that have been bullied, abused, whether it's in the home or in the community, that are struggling with self harm, with all those issues that we're tackling with social media, and they're bombarded with all of this. One of the things that it allows is because it's one-to-one, so it's one mentor, one person who comes into that school and has one mentee, one child, and so the kids know that they are cared for. It may take some time. I'm not suggesting you walk in and all of a sudden the kid just says, "Oh, I'm loved, that's great, I'm going to be a better kid." But over time, through that relationship, through the relational engagement, the child realizes that they are valued, that they're worth something, and that changes lives. As a result of the changed life of this child, who is one of the 5 or 10 kids in the school that everybody knows is the no hope, is going to go nowhere, is causing trouble. Well, they are then taken out of the classroom for that hour. The teacher loves that. The research tells us the teachers say they get so much more done. Therefore, the other kids are happy. When the child comes back into the class, our research shows that they're far more engaged. On the day that the mentor comes into the school, they're far more engaged. The concern is, if I'm naughty, I may not get to see my mentor. So you're starting to see actually change within the context of the classroom. And then that change, you multiply it by the 5 or the 10 children in the school, that multiplies 5 or 10 classrooms. That changes the culture within the school. And over 15 years, we've actually seen community change where Pastor Paul says that they're planting a church as a direct result of Kids Hope. So because it has this growing and multiplying effect of change, of hope, and of relationship and partnership, it's actually the model, as I say, it's so simple. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's really good to know that there's, research to show that the positive benefits of this. It's not just something that's untested. So that's really good. And, listening to you, it's just clear that you love what you do. So why is it that you love what you do?
I personally, my calling that I feel that God has called me to is to help people thrive. And the best way to help people thrive is by helping families thrive. But the best way to help families thrive is to help them see Jesus. And that really comes back to the plan A of helping people see Jesus, of meeting Jesus. And so I just think if we can step into that space that you talked about, these are government schools that a lot of people are struggling to get into, that they're seeing doors closed. When the schools, we've got a waiting list of schools around Australia that want Kids Hope. We don't have enough churches and enough mentors. So that's startling. This is saying there are schools out there that are crying out to have people that are influenced and shaped and driven by Jesus Christ himself. They are wanting us in their schools. So, I mean, to me, that's how can you not get excited about that? That's really seeing people thrive. I'll tell you a really quick story. Actually, I was chatting with an elderly gentleman, and he called me up and said, "I just want to let you know, Kids Hope works." And I said, "Tell me, what made you ring? Why?" He said, "My daughter was one of the first mentors 15 years ago, and about 5 years ago she moved to New York, And this year, during COVID, she got a call from her mentee, the child she mentored 15 years ago, to say, I'm in New York. You made such an impact in my life. Still, 15 years later, I'd love to catch up. And that to me shows, here we go. This person is overseas in the middle of nowhere. And who's she calling? She's calling the Christian person who had influence in her life 15 years ago. You can't buy that.
No, no, you can't. But you can be intentional about working towards it, can't you? Which is, what this whole program is.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That is so true. And the intentionality around it, again, is saying, I really do want to be able to see if I can utilize some of the people in my church who may not feel utilized. If you think about it, going back to being relational, we've found that a lot of research talks about people that are retired, senior citizens. They sometimes feel that they have done their bit and they've got to pass the baton on to those younger in the faith. They may not be speaking so much or engaging so much. Well, that may be true in some instances. But what this allows the church to do, your church to do, is to be able to say to those people, hey, no, you are worth something too. You are valuable. We have a really, really important role. And that would be that you engage into the wider community and help people see firsthand what church really is about.
Yeah, and we have so many precious elder saints in our church with, so much care to give. So, yeah,
Mm.
for anyone who's that way inclined, this is just such a great way to get involved. So, if someone did want to get involved, either a pastor who would like to hear more about how it could help their church, or possibly a individual, what would they do?
Mm. Well, you can just go to kidshope.com.au. So kidshope.com.au. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Or maybe, you can put my email at the bottom of the of the page here so that people can just click through and get in touch with me. But as I say, this is a church-based initiative. So if there are people within the church, definitely get in touch with me and we'll have a talk about how best to help your pastor and your leadership team engage in this. Or have a chat with them. But by all means, jump on our website, have a look around. There's a lot of really great information on the website. And also, while you're there as well, there's a really clear link that you can go to. Basically, the website is split into two. You can as a school, you can follow, get the details of what it means to be a school, or you can click on the church link, and that allows you to be able to find out all the details around how it works and how you need to plug into it. And really, when I say it is simple, once you've got a coordinator trained, which is we do that, and once the coordinator has prayerfully been through with the pastor finding volunteers for the program literally runs itself. That's really, it's just the coordinator's job is just to coordinate that. One thing I do have to say as well, that is I think is quite important, especially in our current climate. Kids Hope is what we call a child safe organization. And so we've got a really, really robust structure around the child protection aspects and elements of it. We're probably well above the sort of the expected norms. And the reason we do that is because anybody can walk into a school and help somebody out in the classroom. But, if you're doing it as a church, if your church decides to do this, you need to know that A, the kids are going to stay safe, and B, that your church is not going to become implicated in something that it could potentially ruin it. And so we've put a lot of investment and a lot of time into ensuring that those child protection strategies and structures are in place to protect the church, to protect the volunteers.
Yeah, that's so important these days. Yeah. That's great. And I'm inspired. So what you're really after though is church engagement. So,
Mm.
pastors get in touch, but if you're an individual in a church, then maybe best let your pastor know, send this video to your pastor and have a chat with them. And then, yeah, have a look at
I mean,
them.
I'm more than happy to talk to anybody that would like to find out a little bit more about it so that they can be a bit more tooled up to talk to their pastor,
Mhm.
by all means. But as you say, it is a church-based program. We wouldn't want to do it just with individuals. We want the pastor to be engaged. It's really important when you do anything that involves the wider community that the church is traveling in the same direction where that's concerned. Otherwise, it just becomes too hard. It breaks down, the two pillars that we talked about when we started off with, the idea of being relational and being partnering. If we're not doing it together as a church community, we're not doing it properly.
Yeah, and from that story you shared with Pastor Paul as well, the strength has been the church engaging. So that's definitely a strength of the program.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, thanks so much. I'm more than happy to let people know about Kids Hope, and thanks for all the work that you're doing in Australian lives, children and families. It's wonderful.
Thanks so much for having me on too. It's been a real pleasure, and hopefully I can get to talk to a lot of people within the Baptist community. It'd be great to chat further.
Yeah, I'll definitely leave your details so people can get in touch. All right, thanks, Tim.